Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a pretty profound realization from our source material. This isn't just your standard critique of modern media and screen time. Instead, we're looking at how our very neurobiology is being targeted every single day. We're going to explore how the media's operational patterns completely give away its true intentions, and more importantly, how the sources suggest we can actually take our minds back.
Okay, let's dive into this because I know you've felt it. You scroll and scroll and scroll endlessly through short videos and feeds, expecting to kick back and relax, but instead, you just feel utterly drained. Why does that happen? Well, it's because the modern digital ecosystem is fundamentally not designed to elevate or entertain you. It is designed to manipulate you. It hijacks your attention in a way that just completely overloads your nervous system.
Section 1. The seventh art, weaponized. To really get this, the source traces things back to film, the seventh art. Originally, the whole point was to expand the human mind through these profound visual aha moments. Internationally known pioneers, people like Hitchcock, Wells, and Riefenstahl, developed brilliantly effective psychological tools to captivate an audience. But look at what happened in the late 20th century. Modern PR and marketing industries essentially reverse-engineered those exact same tools. Today, multinational corporations are using these repetitive psychological clichés not to elevate us, but for the colonization of consciousness. These patterns actually bust the source's true intent. They're serving power and profit, absolutely not art. And trust me, the decision-makers running the media have zero intention of returning this incredible human achievement to its original purpose.
Section 2. Education's dangerous blind spot. This brings us to a massive, systemic failure that leaves us incredibly vulnerable. Look at this glaring contrast presented in the text. On one hand, historical propaganda, like from Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union, is openly condemned and studied as clinical case studies in history class. Yet, on the other hand, modern commercial PR and marketing are almost entirely ignored by schools. The source points out that even though modern marketing uses the exact same psychological mechanics and manipulative structures as those past regimes, we just passively consume it every single day without a second thought.
The source really hits the nail on the head here. As this quote highlights, we teach students how to analyze poetry and decode written words, but we give them absolutely no propaganda translator training. They are left entirely unequipped to decode the torrential flood of visual stimuli that dictates their daily lives.
Section 3, the visual virus and our brain.
Now, what's really interesting is looking at this manipulation through a biological metaphor. Compare your physical body to your mind. If a physical virus enters your body, your white blood cells automatically attack it, right? It's a built-in biological defense. But when visual information enters your eyes, it bypasses all biological filters. The text argues we literally have no automatic white blood cells for visual stimuli, only conscious, subjective critical thinking. Without that active shield, artificial desires and pre-programmed reactions are injected directly into our deepest subconscious. And the data shows exactly who this targets most effectively: children. Because they haven't developed that critical thinking shield yet, the visual tricks and psychological elements deployed on modern cartoon channels cause an extreme addiction rate. We're talking over 90%. They become the single most vulnerable demographic to this self-consuming structure.
Section 4. Anatomy of the polarization trap.
To understand how this works on adults, we have to look at our neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to change and adapt, and how power structures weaponize it. The source points to a clinical case study of biohacking, the Hungarian NER, or National System of Cooperation. Impartially speaking, the analysis shows a method that relies on destroying neural flexibility by constantly bouncing the public between two extreme hormonal states. First, there's survival panic, triggered by cortisol and adrenaline to create chronic fear. Then they flip it to tribal euphoria, triggered by artificial dopamine, to manufacture loyalty and reward. So the crucial point is this. When the brain is trapped in this extreme, constant oscillation, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for nuanced, logical thinking and empathy, literally shuts down. It causes severe cognitive rigidity. The neural pathways for black and white thinking and anger widen into massive highways, while the networks required for empathy and complex thought simply wither away.
Section 5. The biological path to healing. Reading.
Let's just take a breath and intentionally slow our pace here. Because the reality is that decision makers have absolutely no intention of changing this self-consuming media system. The source suggests we have to execute what it calls a Munchausen move. Just as Baron Munchausen supposedly pulled himself out of a swamp by his own hair, we must actively withdraw ourselves from these polarizing digital stimuli. We must simply turn away and stop consuming it entirely to force our brains back to a harmonious wavelength.
Once we clear out all that noise, we can seek genuine healing through the flow state and true aha moments. See, unlike the cheap artificial dopamine of tribal politics or infinite scrolling, a real aha moment provides a natural dopamine rush triggered by genuinely understanding complex connections. This process, known as long-term potentiation, physically strengthens your synapses and irreversibly rewires your brain's cognitive map for the better. And this brilliantly illustrates the perfect gastroenterology. Think of visual media consumption as fast food. It's passive, it gives you a quick spike of energy, but it completely lacks the biological nutrients needed to build a healthy structure. Deep reading, on the other hand, is a multi-course meal. It is an active biological necessity that provides long-term nourishment, literally rebuilding your brain and reclaiming your imagination.
Let's look at the incredible neurobiology of deep reading. Step 1. Active rendering. Because text is just a bunch of abstract symbols, your brain is forced to actively build the missing images and sounds, which actually restores your white matter. Step 2. Deep network building. When you read about a character's actions, your own motor cortex fires up, drastically increasing your psychological flexibility and empathy. Step 3. Internal autonomy. Reading is an inward process that builds focus, breaking your dependence on external manipulative dopamine hits. Reading isn't just some hobby, it is an evolutionary tool for cognitive autonomy.
And the biological impact is almost immediate. Studies show that just 6 minutes, yes, literally just 6 minutes of focused deep reading reduces biological stress levels by up to 68%. It physically shifts your brain into a meditative state, triggering deep tissue and neural regeneration. The source's conclusion is crystal clear. The media system was designed to consume your attention, not to enrich it. The ultimate act of cognitive rebellion is unplugging, stepping away from the polarization trap and taking back control of your fantasy and critical thinking. So, since the system won't save you, I'll leave you with this question. What book will you pick up tonight to regain control of your mind? Thanks for exploring the source material with me today.